on the British borders for all members of Pennine Ham who wish to join the digital net this evening. I have your list on the dashboard at the moment, and I'll go down that list as listed on the reflector in order of appearance. Now, I know that some may be monitoring rather than joining in, but we'll give it a go this evening. So the first one I can see is G0TVB. Paul, I wonder if you're going to join us this evening from GM4JKZ. No, nothing heard. So we'll move on down to link G4IWO. Good evening.
GM4JKZ and the group from G4IWO. Yeah, thank you very much, Keith, and good evening to those that have been able to join us tonight. I know we're going to be down in numbers a little bit this evening, but I'm sure we'll still have a good chat as well. Been interesting conditions, I've thought, over the last few days on HF, with some amazing DX popping up on various of the bands from 20 meters upwards. And I think, like several other people, I've had the opportunity of dipping in and out of that over the last few days. So more about that later. Temperature here today is 11 degrees, slightly warmer than it has been. It's been a very, very sunny day here today, although not terribly warm, but still 11 degrees. So back to you, Keith. GM4JKZ, G4IWO.
Totally agree. It's pretty good. I did try and take down the German Antarctic station that we were to, but every time I sort of found on one band, so I did succeed in that one, but it was extremely good. And from my purposes, I've now managed to work for the first time on my band. From here in Scotland, I had worked through down in Somerset, but many, many years ago. So that was a bonus for me. Okay, let's move on to Lou, G8KJJ with the group from GM4JKZ. Over to you.
GM4JKZ and the group GAKJJ. It's a very good evening to everyone. It's a pleasure to be back again. The WX in Nottingham, very pleasant all day, plenty of sun, 16 degrees Celsius at the best. At the moment it's, I think, around about 11. So it's been a pretty good day. I've not done a lot of operating during the week, as I'm still engaged in getting the kit organised for satellite working. I did work a few stations on 17 metres earlier in the week, quite a few not too distant stations, but not bad at all. And today I put the Delta loop up and worked on 10 metres and managed to make a contact with Cameroon, which is a new country for me, and there were I worked a number of stations in the States. So pretty good. Today, 10 metres was very active. Anyway, more from me on the next over. Back to you, GM4JKZ and the group GAKJJ.
Okay, that was yeah, fine there, Lou. And yeah, I saw that Cameroon station was around, but again, unfortunately, couldn't link into it. But well done for working that one, I must admit. So let's move on to Mike and Adriana, TL1BJW with TL8BDT with the group from GM4JKZ.
One Bravo Juliet Whiskey. A very good evening to one and all. We are okay over here. WX, Adriana will tell you a little bit about it in the next over. first of all, greetings and congrats to Keith relating to the SSB QSO to Peru. I want to happen this also on my side, HI. Very good. And Lou, congrats to your contact to Cameroon. It's also a nice one. Greetings from Delta Golf 6 Oscar Alpha Yankee, Frank from Kiel. He sent us an email today with best greetings to all members and friends of Pennine Ham. And he's on tour actually, again with a class of school children on a bed excursion. He's very active on the what do you call it? On nature conservation things, especially on things having to do with bats, the little flying monsters, HI, and he's very engaged in this and seems to be quite a head station, so to speak, for school classes in the east of northern Germany. So best wishes from him. From my side, as the others said, the situation on the beds has improved remarkably, but not always the same. Sometimes it's going down again very quickly, coming up again. Signals also good break up. Palestine goes more in FD4 on 10 meters, so that was a nice one. I'm very glad about that. It was not so easy, was lots of pace calling, but at the end I succeeded. That was a highlight in the last week. There were also some other things which I'm going to tell in over now. There's only my problem. Certainly my bravo, there's a tango for the very good evening to all of you. Good to be with you this evening. It's very much quite good. Time sunny, so quite cold winds from the east here, and goes down. For drinking event, fine, thanks. I had Fiona, and congratulations working in Palestine. That's a brilliant one, I must admit. And okay, on Frank's nature food band. We had two here that we rescued. The first one, I think I put it on WhatsApp a little bit of him last year, and he fortunately warmed up and managed to fly away. And I'm sure he's one of the two that fly around our garden every night. But the second one, unfortunately, got caught up in a cobweb, and don't know how long it had been there. We brought it in, cleared the cobwebs, but unfortunately it didn't survive. So we gave him a little burial over the road. But they look both of them extravagant, beautiful little creatures,
you had to handle them very carefully. So we were told by the maps expert. Okay, let's go to the plate Bob N4 explain P with the route from GM4JKZ. Hey, are you there, Bob? I see you dropped off of the dashboard at the moment from GM4JKZ. Oh, well, hopefully we'll still get Bob back. So, ONXNT, GM4JKZ.
Okay. 4 November 2nd. That was on my side, on the both side, and we don't know actually. A very good evening to you, and a very good evening to everyone. And a very good afternoon to Bob. Bob is back again. Nice to catch up with everyone. Just a moment, I have to rethink everything. Yeah, we had 50 degrees during the day, and for the moment we have 11 degrees with northeastern winds. Quite chilly actually. I did a small walk actually, so I'm still on the recovery side. Thank you very much for standing in, Keith. I'm becoming better by the day. Still have some small issues, but anyway, I went to the doctor yesterday, who did the operation, and he told me that that is normal and that will all improve in the coming days or weeks. Anyway, okay, just a question to Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey. I remember the next net you told about the problems you had with installing the new version of WSGTX, and I wonder if you managed to solve that. So that's a question to Mike. And a very good evening also to everyone on YouTube. And congratulations, Mike, on working Palestine. Never worked that, I think, as far as I know. Okay, back to you. GM4JKZ, the group of an everything.
Oh, and I know GM4JKZ. Fine there, Jeff, and good to hear that you're slowly improving and you're doing the small walks now, which is good. Well, that's the answer, but obviously overdo it. Okay, yeah, Bob's back in now, so let's go to the speak. November 4, X-Ray Alpha Tango. Over to you there, Bob, from GM4JKZ. Oh, GM4JKZ. Bob seems to have disappeared off the dashboard again. So let's go around to Fraser, who's joined us. Oscar Zulu 1, Juliet Kilo Unit from GM4JKZ. I've just literally put the dongle in the PC and come on, as you've probably seen, so Keith, no problems. Bob keeps coming and going, I've noticed, unfortunately, so it must have a bit of a problem. Nice to hear everybody, and I've been very bad of not coming on
due to the fact that an evening that we do other things, and it's always at the wrong time for us. I mean, it's 10 minutes to 9, well, 20 to 9, yeah, at the moment. And it just doesn't quite gel, the net, but it doesn't matter. So you'll just have to keep me coming up every so often. The conditions have improved when been having some JTM, you know, sort of FT whatever, 4, 8, and all the rest of it. WSJT, the new version works well. Some interesting new bits on it, and the other one, JTEX, also has some bits and pieces which are quite good. That's Keith. You're lucky you had your house impounded so that you can't do anything to it because there's bats around. So beware. Best thing is to keep quiet on them and just get on with it and see what you can do. But nice and you've got a good one. They're rather interesting creatures, even though they're a bit funny when you actually get them in your hand. They're very small, very light, fantastically made, but very fragile. I am having problems with my DS commander at the moment, mainly due to the coax out of the house. This evening, interestingly, on HF recently, within the last 10 minutes just before I came on the net here, 40 meters, no, not 40 meters, 20 meters to get is into Europe. It's very, very short. I had a good QSO with an LZ station. We were 5'9" plus 20 both ways, which is pretty unusual. I mean, it's only a few hundred or a few thousand kilometers, which is pretty from each other, and it shouldn't really work. WX here, like most other places, is cool. In the mornings, we've had frost yesterday, no frost this morning, but it's ranging from 2 to 4 degrees at the moment, at around 50 max during the day. So as Andrew has said, it's autumn's on the way. HF-wise and DX-wise, I've been watching the WhatsApp group and see people seem to be having fun with that, but I haven't been able to do anything myself. I've been tied up with other things, unfortunately. Anyway, back to you, Keith. I'm waffling. GM4 JKZ. I said one JK again to the group, and good evening to the group. It's finance Raver, and yeah, the bands have been brilliant and most strange. I found 40 and 20, as you quite rightly say. The skip into Europe is different, shall we say? And okay, on the frost, yeah, we had our first frost 3 mornings ago, I think. So I've commandeered next door's big trailer, and I'm off to the sawmills tomorrow morning to pick up 2 dumpy bags full of logs as we ran out earlier this year for the fire. So that would be fun. And collecting them direct, they're half the price of anybody else that's charging for them. So I mustn't grumble, he says. Yes, interesting enough. Also, cold mornings. We get loads and loads of birds on the bird feeder now. There must have been 30 or 40 sparrows and chaffinches this morning on the ground and on the feeders. So looks as though we're going to be starting to buy more and more bags of bird food to keep them going. That's my other half target. And temperature is 12 degrees at the moment. It was sunny today and cool, but we didn't necessarily have any winds there. Okay, I can't see Bob coming back onto the dashboard, so let's whisk back up to the top then. G4IWO, back to you then, Nick, with the group from GM4JKZ.
GM4JKZ in the group from G4IWO. Yes, it's a shame that Bob is having some Wi-Fi problems over there and keeps coming in and out of the net. And I know he's been in contact with you and you've sent him a quick message. Yeah, the most interesting bits that I've read this week, amateur radio wise, has been Lou, G8KJJ, in your posts on the Facebook group for Pennine Ham. Some very, very interesting stuff you've been publishing there about now your attempts to build, as I'm sure you'll be successful, an antenna to enable you to work through satellites, and following the story with great interest. As of course, we've all been following as well your progress with the Delta Loop antennas, and as you probably know, Lou, Ken G4VZV has taken down his Delta Loop and instead built a quad loop. So he's currently got a 20-meter quad loop that he's using for 20 meters upwards. And of course, Ken being Ken, he's having amazing DX success with that antenna. And I noticed the other day when he was on 20 meters and telling who he was able to hear with the quad loop and indeed work, I was unable to hear the station that he was talking about. And generally we are able to pick up similar stations when he's in the UK. And it was interesting that his quad loop, I think if I remember rightly, he's got it up about 20 meters off the ground. So it's a very, very big antenna. You know, he's got obviously on a rotator on it, and he can move it round, is extremely successful. So back to you, Keith. GM4JKZ in the group, G4IWO.
I see on WhatsApp that Bobby's having trouble with his internet at his end, so I'm still keeping an eye in case he does pop up. We'll squeeze it in between the two of you. And yeah, Lou's progress in satellites. Let's hear more about that then, shall we, Lou? Take KJJ with the group. Yeah, before JKZ.
For JKZ, KJJ. Fine, well, first of all, I think Mike needs to be congratulated on Palestine. It's very, very rare. There's no doubt about that. Well done on that, Mike. Yeah, Ken's quad loop. That sounds very interesting, Nick. Yeah, I'm very happy with the Delta Loops mine, and I did work quite a few stations today on 10 meters. So you know, I'm going to stick with that for a little while. And as far as the satellites, as I mentioned last week, the 4-element Moxon Yagi, it didn't have enough gain really to hear the stations clearly, and particularly through the ISS. So, and then that's the closest satellite. So, I employed the preamp, which solved the problem. And I'm at the moment working on the automatic switch, which will take out the preamp when transmitting. And the work on that is nearing completion. And I'll report back on that next week. I think that'll be up and running by then. Ultimately, I'd like to work other modes through satellites, and this could be done using the ICOM 7100 and the SDR play that I've got, which would give me full duplex. So that's another development which I'm working towards. What else have I think I would need to have a remote steerable antenna, or at least maybe an omnidirectional antenna. And I think I'm beginning to favour the omnidirectional antenna because it does simplify the whole thing. I wonder if anybody's got any thoughts on that. So anyway, back to you, Keith. Very interesting, some of the comments. GM4JKZ and the group G8KJJ.
KJJ with the group M4JKZ. Yeah, you know, I haven't touched the I got down in the workshop. I'm building the egg beater style antenna.
some say they're good, some say they're not, but I thought, well, if you don't try, you'll never know. But there's a couple of other beams that I'm looking at, but time is the issue at the moment. Interesting enough, just one little snippet, this little thing for piece of it. We used in triple eight and five and you know, I came up with before. One, the radio failed, and secondly, one of my handhelds failed. So having checked them, the battery on the one that was in the repeater, as I call it, had an open circuit, and my one wasn't connected to the radio. And I managed to get the battery cases open, and the one in the repeater had a dry joint on the battery connection, and it was open circuit. Solved that very easily. With the box folder and took that one out. And the problem I had was that where the battery two pins connect into the radio body, they've got little springs inside. And when I opened my one up, one of the terminals didn't have the spring. It was completely missing. So bit of ingenuity modification to solve that one. So if they fail, then always going to be a battery fault. Could be the structure of the battery inside. So and I know you get what you pay for. But there we go. Thought I'd give you that little snippet there. And okay, the auto switch and preamp. You're going to have to give us a talk one evening, I think, on how you're progressing and chemical. I'd be fascinated to see. Okay, let's go around to Mike Adriana, TL1 BJW with TL8 BDT from GM4JKZ.
Yeah, all it sounds very interesting, your work about the satellite receiving and transmitting. Some thought it wouldn't take up again what I did 4 or 5 years ago, working the LEO satellites, handheld with 5 watts in the field outside with a small dual band antenna, and I think I should take that up again. That's something to thank you for that. So, first of all, help get well soon, or found 2 different data come. I hope and just asking about my problems that ended up today as software, the new one, that's installed. My very clever wife found a mistake and helped me to set it right for that wire. Yeah, and radio-wise, try to meet from time to time. In the last few days, and I found out we have put up the outside antennas again after some very big warnings about what are now. So, possibility to do something from North Dakota, so you use 50 volts for the all 4.3 round mountain that only reduce centimeters with 100 watts and the rival golf vertical. The 100 watts are not possible to be worked with our IC 7300 in our shack, but only with the FT891, which finds its place then at the living room table for some hours before it gets to its feet. But it was very nice this morning and it worked very well. But I found that 100 watts and I got very proud of on my side, passing the microphone to the better half, Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango. Bravo Delta Tango for the solar, but it's not so hard here. Yes, Jeff, all the best for you, and I hope you will recover very soon, and all will be great again. So I hope you can come to days or weeks. Yes, from my side, I can report I have to fix some things here on my equipment. First of all, the carrier kit, which worked great, has now a problem with the side tone. It can't be heard here, but it seems to transmit. But I have to took everything apart again and look for the fault. So one has to do something always this hobby. And the second thing is the LDG tuner, which works also great, but seems to have a wobbly contact in one of the sockets. So many things to do. Yes, today we had made a short trip to the river Weser here nearby, and we went to a small museum, so-called Schifffahrtsmuseum, a museum which focuses on the history of Goldberg shipping. Yes, Goldberg has had quite great amounts of ships, but this is very long ago. It has been on the end of the 19th century and the early 20th century, and then in 1846 we had made a small telegraph in the small town of Mark. It had been an optical telegraph station from also by a construction wooden arm, and inside of this small building now was a museum, and I think construction semaphore, Mark said. Yes, this is quite interesting and also quite nice to see by this beautiful weather here. Yes, this was quite interesting, and they had also a small exhibition concerning Morse code and so on. So this was quite nice. So that's all from my side. I have the microphone back to CM4JKZ for the group.
My second guest appearance this evening, and yeah, okay, on the problems with the Kanga kit. I say no more. But the old ships, certainly the flags and semaphore. Yeah, certainly. I've seen old drawings of the seafront at Brighton down in Sussex on the south coast years ago. And I had a semaphore set up at the end of the year. And I used to just up here on the seafront there when I was a wee lad, I'll say. And Mike's very jealous that you're working into New Zealand on 20. One thing that I managed to do this a couple of evenings ago, actually, at what time was it? With half 10, which would have been 9 GMT. Managed to work into Canada, VY2WW, and he gave me a 5 and 9 on 40 metres. And he was spent the overnight. Brilliant signal, and he asked me what power I was running, and my setup, I told him it was the 100 watts PS Commander. He said, I think I'll turn my power down. He was running 1.5 kilowatts, and I was quite pleased my little 100 watts gets over to Nova Scotia. Pretty pleased indeed. Anyway, moving on, let's go down to not around, unfortunately. Now here it is. ON8NT was going from Project SN.
Okay, GM4JKZ, 8 November, Tango, and thank you very much for the good wishes there, Mike and Adriana. And I have been a little bit active from time to time. The good thing about FT8 that you can keep that running while I'm in the chair, so to say, so I can turn my shack is in my living room, so I can turn the laptop so that I can see what's happening on the screen, and I just let it running and try to work some peaks. I was very happy to work Delta Papa Zero Golf into November on 50 meters 2 days ago, and actually that was very easy. There was not much competition. I have been since the weekend. I have been dabbling on 10 meters most of the time. 10 meters has been brilliant, I think. And yesterday evening, between 10 and 12 o'clock midnight, even a little bit after 12 o'clock midnight, I worked a whole bunch of USA stations. Very easily, actually, and also some Latin American, so conditions really excellent. One of the stations I was working was Whiskey 3 Echo Whiskey Lima QRP. Is working with 5 watts and in a OCF dipole. So really happy to be able to work him. He was quite strong actually, but and congratulations there, Adriana, on solving or trying to solve your Kanga problems, and Mike on your leaks and so on and so on. And also your satellite antenna system. I worked satellites with my vertical, with my VX 2000. The big advantage of that is that according to the radiation pattern in the horizontal plane, you can actually work satellites when they are near to the horizon. That's the good thing about the vertical. But if the satellites are going up 30, 40 degrees, that becomes a little bit problematic. So if you want to work some, that's of course those are the most distant stations that you can cross. If you are low to the horizon, you can work the low distance stations. That's how I work in FD4 into the States and Canada with the RS-44 satellite. Another option that you have, actually a quite cheap option, you have these cheap TV rotators on the market, which are not going into the elevation they only turn around. And if you put your Yagi or your antenna that you made in about 30 up elevation, you mounted that on your mast at about 30 degrees high elevation, then you can catch maybe 85 degrees of all passes. So that's one other cheap option that you have. And you can of course turn the rotator with your distance controller by hand. You not necessarily need to link that to a program or so. that's maybe another more difficult level to achieve that. But that's I think one of the other options that you have. Actually, if you have a vertical and you have one on a rotate with 30 degrees, you can actually change antennas and use the best of both worlds, so to say. Between the 3rd and the 6th of October, there will be slow scan TV pictures from the ISS again. So maybe that's your chance and for others also to test your gear and to see how things are working. And it's really fascinating to just receive all those slow scan TV pictures. So that's between the 3rd and the 6th of October. Okay, now I put it back to you, Guy, the GM4JKZ, the group over 8 November Tango.
November Tango with the group GM4JKZ. Yeah, fine there, Jeff. Sounds good, and it's good evening. I did see the other evening on it, and I thought to myself, not the bug, all right. He's recovering and he's still operating. Fabulous stuff. And I agree with you about the vertical. I find that when ISS comes over here, I can pick it up almost before signal capture. Certainly when it's low on the horizon, the collinear on the roof here picks it up a treat. That's how I got those reasonable pictures the last time it flew over. The only problem I have now is that I set heavens above to let me know when the ISS is around. And I forgot about that last week, and it woke me up at 3 o'clock in the morning with a little thing on the phone, on the bedside table. So you have to remember to switch it off at night when you've given up. Okay. The other thing I was going to mention that I've talked about and myself to is on the HRD software, DX Cluster, and how useful that is for finding out who's where and immediately switching your radio onto that frequency and that mode. Certainly, I did try DVS. I've never got that on my search area, so I could get a voice activation when it comes up. So there we go. Okay, Randy Fraser, OZ1 JKU with a group from here for JKZ. Yeah, sounds like everybody's been pretty busy and doing some fantastic things as well. In some cases, and other mundane things. Satellites, yes, have worked quite a few of the little satellites. I'm not sure, I can't remember the numbers now. 2 meters up, 70 cents down. One of the microsats just came round every 90 minutes. So I would stand in the garden with a beam and just, as it came up over the horizon, point it, and then just follow it over the top of me, or wherever it was within a sort of 24, 48 degree arc, where I could get it. I got some trees in my garden, so it's dead spots. We used to have a few contacts with European and a few other stations as well. That was very good indeed. The 10 meters, 12 meters up there, the top end of the band, etc. Maybe 50 megs, a little bit further down the line. It's TEP, of course. TEP. I was listening to TG this morning, quite strong on NT8. Didn't work in because I wasn't in the situation to be able to work him. And Zambia was coming in loud in there. He was really strong. I worked him before, so I didn't bother to go back to him. But TEP is coming up, so you get the double skip sort of thing. You get ease and F2. So that's coming. And South America is coming as well. Logs, I think absolutely. They're a luxury to a certain extent. we buy a huge wheel load, about 4 tons, for the winter, and it gets dumped in our yard, and I have to smack pay it to the rear end, but never mind, they're good. And that's just really for to use the Danish word, sugar, coziness. We eat by wood pellets as our main firing. With a boiler that is automatic and does everything automatically. The floor warm is just starting to come in as well, floor heating, so we must be getting cold. Our birds are feeding quite a lot. I've put out some seeds, etc., and the tits and various other ditches and other the tit family have been feeding quite well. The downside is the bloody sparrows. They are a real pain here because we've got a thatch roof and they form a thatch seasons, which is not very nice, so I don't like them. I don't really want to feed them, but if you've got the tits there as well, they come in with them. A quad loop is the best thing for a all bands, with an antenna like that, Nick. He should be able to get everything because its resonance are all frequencies big enough. And if it's high enough, you set a few meters up off the ground, 20 meters, I think you said, then it should do everything that he wants it to without a tuner, maybe, or just a little bit of a help with the tuner. So the quad is an ideal area in many aspects, but not completely. The DX Commander, of course, is an umbrella aerial upside down because all the radios are at the ground and the pole is in the air. Mine works pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. It's the leader at the moment, as I said earlier. Another reason I haven't been here, I've been down to Monza to Formula One 2 weeks ago, and had a bit of fun down there. We had 3 days racing, and that was quite interesting. Nice, fantastic weather. 27 degrees, 28 degrees, but humidity was just exactly right. No sweating, no hot. It was a beautiful temperature. Amazing. I've been in Italy like that for many, many years. Normally it's a sweat box, especially around Milan and that area. But anyway, before us went down, we hired a flat about 20 miles from Monza, and we found that we could get a train directly into Monza and Milan. So the ladies went off and did their own thing. On up here, something. I don't know why that was. Hopefully, I'm back again. Anyway, that's my bit and my final as well. The dear lady has just come in. She's been in Copenhagen all day and wants to talk. She's only just come in. She went out at 6 o'clock this morning, and we've now got 9 in the. So, 7-3's all, and many thanks indeed for letting me come in on my net, and hopefully I'm more you to tears. Back to you, Keith, GM4, JKZ, 071 JKU. I did the 4XAP, that we got on the again. Yeah, I put it, he disappeared off of the dashboard again. But M4XAP, so beautiful, the M4JKZ. I don't know why. Thank you for picking up the whole net was on the dropout. But I had a picture of myself when I was with it was that day. But I have done well in the last week. With my code, I got 3 more DX countries. With my code, I got Germany, Scotland, and I got another one. And so I'm doing well with that. Yesterday, I want to go over here, and they let my repaired this morning, and now I'm working. I'm trying to set up for 80 meters because as the weather changes, I don't have any. I have one park on the air on 80, but I really don't have good antennas, so I'm trying to work to build an antenna for 80 meters. And of course, because of the restrictions I have here, it's difficult. I've been playing with that this morning. Hopefully, I can get down into the CW area of the band and at least make a few contacts. Keep my fingers crossed. As I say, I do have a photo. I don't know if I'm going to be able to send it, but I'll try if the system holds up. Back to you, Keith. GM4KJJ, number 4 Israel. Thank you. Before I say, Tango, okay, Bob from GM4JKZ, yeah. Shame the ratings were cut, but I cut mine about an inch under the grass. And unfortunately, they do go out to the flower bed. And when someone uses the edging tool, I lost 2 of mine. But there we go. And good that you've worked in Scotland and one other on your 3 more DX stations. That's brilliant. Okay, I'll put it up to Nick. I have got a picture, but I'll keep up with the complimentary here, I think. So, Nick, your final.
GM4JKZ and the group from G4IWO. Yeah, thank you very much, Keith, and delighted, Bob, that you got back in again. And I'll be fascinated to hear how you get on with 80 meters with obviously a very compromised antenna. But I'm sure, as you know, you will make some QSOs and they will add to the spread of your activities across the bands there. Just news-wise, of course, next week on Wednesday, we have our very good friend Emil DL8JJ, who's going to come back and give us a talk about the expedition he ran to an island off the coast of Spain called Peñata del Moro. To call it an island is really to exaggerate its size and the difficulty of the location he had chosen. And he will fascinate everyone with his spirit to try things which are almost impossible, but make some success. And he did have some success working from Peñata. So looking forward to seeing Emil again and hearing his latest. And a couple of weeks after that, we have the annual general meeting of Pennine Ham. We're just sending the information about that out, along with the notice to confirm membership again for the next 12 months, either as a paid member or a free member. Although for those listening on YouTube, our meetings are open to everyone. So any of our meetings with speakers, you don't have to be a member. You can come along and hear any of them and contribute to discussion as well. And I guess that's probably how most people ended up joining the club, by coming along several times, deciding they enjoyed it and wanting to join us. So that's good. And we've got some very, very interesting speakers coming up in the November period as well. So I think, doing our best to put on, particularly over the winter months when it's more likely we're going to be stuck indoors in the evening than doing anything else, to make an interesting range of speakers at the club. And we've got a couple of them coming up from Scotland as well to come and speak at the club. So good evening to everybody. I'll look forward to watching the pictures that come up. 73s, and catch you next week. GM4 JKZ, G4IWO.
Fine, thanks, Nick. And yeah, I call it that Aviator. I call it a stone stump. But it's fascinating. So thoroughly recommend it. Okay, let's go around to Lou then for your final KJK with a group GM4 JKZ.
Or JK7, GAKJJ. Thanks, Keith. There's lots of information there that I need to comment on. It really is quite interesting. I'll take chess first. The fourth wave and vertical. Yeah, I looked into that. I was thinking that the model and the army that I use might not be the best solution. It work, as you suggested, at about 30 degrees elevation. It does work quite well. And the only time that it drops out is, in fact, when the satellite is virtually overhead, and then you do get a bit of a dropout. But I've looked into rotators. I've done a fair amount of work with computers and stepping motors and that sort of thing in the past, so I did look into that. But I do believe that simple is the best way. So Keith's egg beater, I did look into that as well, Keith. That's an interesting antenna. There's so many things that can be done. I think, as Mike said, holding the Yagi and pointing it by hand is one way of doing it, but I find that I can't do that and change the frequencies and when the Doppler effect takes place, so it becomes more and more difficult. But it is a fascinating project at the moment, and I'm getting very interested in it. So we'll see how that goes. And as far as Keith's and Fraser's birds on their feeders, we have birds on our feeders, but we don't have any sparrows, Fraser, unfortunately. So you must send us a few. We have lots and lots of goldfinches. In fact, this time of the year they start to come in great groups of about 30 or more, and they spend all day eating our sunflower hearts, which is not too good. Anyway, I have got a picture. The picture I'll try and send it if I can, and apologies if I can't, but I will send a picture, and it's the ultimate air-conditioned car. I think if you manage to get it, it's quite an interesting picture. Anyway, back to you, Keith. GM4 JKZ at the group, GAKJJ.
Fine there, Lou, and yeah, always certainly are good, but I think the thing I'm doing is I wanted to try to do a circular time one, but at the moment I'm using brazing rods to build a square version. See how that goes. That'll be my project. Nice drawing, I think. I did say that last year. Bird-wise, out of interest, we've got some very large black and having looked at them, looking at their feet, their size, we've got a couple of ravens up here, and they're pretty good. They let the small birds eat first, and then go and get another raven. Country-wise, yeah, we do have a few sparrows. I've got 4 birds stuff, and we had 2 puppies from the third one was invaded by wasps. They're all cleared out now as of a couple of 3 days ago, but the wasp there was an absolute design, superb design, really. Okay, and yeah, I've got you down for a picture at the end there, Lou. Round to Mike and Adriano, TL1BJW with group DL8BDT from TM4JKZ.
Final Houston for Bob and for XIT. Congrats again to your further successes there on the POTA theme, so to speak. Brilliantly done. Very good. And one word still to contest last weekend power. I was shooting maybe the antenna outside with 4.7 watts and almost any I think the reason that also Iceland for the other that was Oscar Yankee 1 Charlie Tango from the Faroe Islands. So worked also with 4.7 watts, the other so 700 milliwatts, but was an indoor long wire antenna. Thank you for this very nice for your company, for your thought and good ideas. Regarding activity on the satellite, also maybe what is needed of the So thank you again. All the best. Good success. Responsibility and profitability. I think there might be many funny so there might be possibilities of activity here. All the best for all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, fine, Adriana and Mike. Many thanks for that one. And yes, don't forget, Snowscan TV ISF 3rd to the 6th of October. And if you use Heaven software on an Android phone, you can program it in to wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning to let you know it's overhead or it's something like a 5-minute warning before it reaches time slot. So I thoroughly recommend using that piece of software. Okay, let's go round to the book then, your final, and then we'll come back to the pictures afterwards. In 4XAT with the group from TM4JKZ. One more France and out of batteries, out of that. Well, I might want to I had 2,787 cars. So I still have a ways to go for that 3,000. I'm working on it. Maybe a year or so, maybe I'll be able to do it if I want. The X part, I have 254 DX parts confirmed. I have a couple of other DX parts. For some reason, I guess if they don't put in their full count, they don't report it to post, so then I don't get credit. But I have 254 firms. I'm happy with that. Well, in case I lose it, I'll tell you about my picture now, even though I won't send it out. The picture is one of the right close to the Bremerhaven in the Old Harbor, and I don't remember the year. I'm going to send it at the highest quality, and if my internet holds out. And it's the submarine Wilhelm Tower, which is the last Type 21 submarine in existence. And that's at the old port in that museum area now. Originally it was U-2540, and it was sunk by its own crew in 1945 so that the Allies couldn't get it. It was sunk to the bottom of the Flensburg fjord, and it was there for 24 years. They resurfaced the thing, and they started to use it as a training ship, etc. And in 1983, then the Technical Museum took it over. And there's another ship there, and it's a member of the group that I belong to, the MS Runda, and that's the old deep sea salvage tug Seafall. And that was put in service in 1924. During World War II, that was sunk in the bombing of Kiel. And it was secretly lifted, transported to a bay up there, and then it was resunk. And after the Allies lifted the salvage provisions in 1950, they lifted the ship up, put it back in service, and it was in service for quite a while. But since 1970, it has been at Bremerhaven in that museum area. So there are the two ships that I can tell you about. The Seafall, the tug, actually has a qualified EUSN amateur call, and last year they qualified DK100 SR. There's a fairly background, but I can't the name of it. I'm going to write it down. So if I get the sound picture, that's what we'll be seeing on my picture. But then, in fact, I'm sorry, this is like that. It sounded like it was probably a good net, but my internet just kept dropping out. Back to you, Keith, from N4XAT. N4XAT, the group N4XAT. Yeah, fine there, Bob. Still a copy all the way through that time, and 2,797 parts. Brilliant. And 48 parts. Now, okay, on the sub, if you're going to put and I can report to that. I was still really boring tonight. Keep waiting for somebody to come home, but I didn't have any time to be prepared this evening. So let's go back to Lou. Or actually, no, let me change the order. We do Bob first, then Lou, then Jeff, and then myself. Okay, we lose Bob. So N4XAT, if you want to send your picture of the front from TN4JKZ. I'm going to say that high quality because this is that I took. You go on the internet to look up either the Seafall, tug Seafall, if you look that up, or the Wilhelm Hour, you'll get better shots in this. But this is one of my own. No copyright, no nothing. Do with it what you like. Here we go. I wonder if you could do it again. fabulous now. Absolutely, 100%. How do you copy it, Lou?
Yeah, it's just one little block in the middle, and it's yeah, it's a fantastic picture. That's very good, Bob.
How did you copy?
I have 100% on the first time. Perfect.
That's what it is. Yeah. Very good. Okay, for your picture, yeah, KJJ, for the group, properly and for JKZ.
Yeah, GM4JK to GAKJJ. Yeah, well, the picture is a car which is all the bodywork has been removed by sort of wrought iron work. I don't believe it's wrought iron. It may be aluminium, but I took it many years ago, and it's a very interesting sort of special air conditioned vehicle. Anyway, this is it.
I've probably got about 50% of the picture there.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll try again. I don't know why it is this is causing problems, but I'll retransmit it.
Yeah.
100% from the first time again. Brilliant picture. The whole front and full. The whole front and full.
You get it okay?
I think one block all the way still, and between the headlights, I put a section above the license tag, and I owned one similar to that. It wasn't decorated quite the same, but while I was stationed in Cyprus, I had one that was very similar to that one. And no need to send it again. I have enough of it till I can see it.
Oh, yeah, for JKZ. Yeah, me too. Same area. Like a piece of delivery or taxi. But, yeah. Okay. Let's go around to you then, Jeff. 08 November Tango. For your property and for JKZ.
Okay, keep 48 November Tango 27 North. comment. Congratulations on your quota result there. That's really brilliant. So I'm jealous each eye. And to Lou, one of the antennas you should also consider is the turnstile antenna. The big advantage of the turnstile antenna that it is very, very easy to build, much more easier than the 8-meter. So that's really something you should look at. The turnstile antenna is used by a lot of people who are into weather satellite reception on 137 megahertz. NOAA and so on, but NOAA has been decommissioned for the moment, so there are still some Russian weather satellites, but this is a very good antenna also, which gives you coverage of the whole, so to say. And another thing is, of course, you are doing satellite, you don't have enough hands, and let's considering to use a headset and using Vox on your transceiver. And it's always handy to have a kind of a recorder connected to your transceiver, like the smartphone. Most smartphones will have recorders or some old dictaphone or whatever, so that you have your hands free to adjust the Doppler shift and and to direct the antenna if you are to it by hand. Okay, my picture will be a Italian sailing ship, the Vespuccia, and I forgot the name, sorry for that. That's one of the famous sailing ships from Italy. So QRX, I lit the pic, and I will come back with the picture. Yeah, it's 100%. I think Jeff's got excellent broadband. Go ahead. I think so. I agree. Yeah, brilliant stuff, I must say. Really good picture. I've changed my picture for you guys now. It's something to look forward to. Okay, here we come. Popular. Go ahead. Yeah, KKJ, of course, KKZ is popular. There's a lot of blocks missing, Keith. I think if you sent it again, it would come out okay.
Roger. How about yourself, Jeff? NT GM Project KZ?
100% copy. 100% copy.
And how are you, Bob, in 4XAT GM Project KZ?
Over 95%. Over 95%. I think block. But I have seen a picture. Although that background is pretty, I don't look forward to that.
Yeah, from GM Project KZ. Yeah. Well, I did say it's something to look forward to. But the beauty is it's not over. It's cooling down. You told me to put it in the KZ GM Project KZ.
And go ahead.
For you, GM Project KZ.
Yeah, that's much better, Keith. And I'm not looking forward to that at all. Go ahead.
Yeah, from GM Project KZ. Yeah, I thought I'd stir the spoon in the porridge, so to speak. Okay, well that's grand. And yeah, thank you all for a very pleasant evening. It's been a delight chairing the team tonight. So without further ado, I'll call it to a close and wish everybody a happy week of DX and poster counting. And for those on YouTube, if they're still there, many thanks for joining us this evening. Well, this is GM Project KZ closing the Pennine Ham down this evening and wishing you all a very good night. And don't forget, 3rd to the 6th of October, Slogan TV on the ISS. That's real.
Thanks for sharing. Well, at least the last 10 minutes are coming all out for me. So that's just running for you. 5, 7, we'll see you all next week at the meeting.
Yeah, it's good that you managed to get back in and it was holding a nice steady signal. Okay, well, GM Project KZ, yeah.